Good day and welcome to Westchester Talk Radio. I'm John Marino, and we are joined by the Supervisor of the town of Greenburgh, Paul Feiner, here on Westchester Talk Radio, produced by Shark the Creative. Here at Westchester Talk Radio, we are made possible by a lot of our good friends around the area here in Westchester, like Indian Point Energy Center. At Indian Point, they promise to keep us powered, keep the lights on for us through April of 2021. Also, Lapolis Electric, where you are never left in the dark. Check out their podcast series, Live Wire, produced by us at Shark and Creative, our parent company here at Westchester Talk Radio. And you can find it on demand at lapoliselectric.com. It runs on westchestertalkradio.com and can also be found on demand. Talk Radio, Westchester Talk Radio, that's us. Go to it and ask for it on demand. Also, a special shout out to everybody on the front lines over at White Plains Hospital and all the healthcare facilities throughout our tri-state area for all they have done through the COVID-19 pandemic. At Westchester Talk Radio, we produce a show for White Plains Hospital, and it is their podcast series. It's called The Health Talk. Find it on the White Plains Hospital website and also Westchester Talk Radio website too. Ask for it on demand as well. And also brought to you by our good friends at Parker Sterling Realty. Catch all of our programming at Westchester Talk Radio on the YouTube channel of our parent company, Shark. That's S-H-A-R-C, Shark Creative YouTube for all of our programming here at Westchester Talk Radio. Again, we are joined by Greenburgh Supervisor Paul Feiner here on the Cup of Joe political show here at Westchester Talk Radio. Paul Feiner, first of all, our thanks to you for joining us here on Westchester Talk Radio. And secondly, I guess we are open now in Westchester, what does that mean exactly, being real?
Well, basically, they're gradually reopening. It's not totally reopening. So we're still waiting for the governor to advise us if the pools could be open. The town hall, we still are closed, although people are working, remotely. Businesses could have takeout, people could pick up supplies at curbs, but they're still not really open. Administrative staff still aren't working. Construction, companies are allowed to work. So it's a gradual reopening.
Are there pratfalls with a gradual reopening? I know if we go wide open all at once, anything can happen. Now we do it step by step. What are the potential pratfalls?
Well, the concerns that I have, I think if we open too early, we could have a second wave that could be as bad as the first wave. Westchester's lost, thousands of human beings, neighbors, friends, people lost their lives, and we don't want that to happen again because people were careless. In fact, one of the initiatives that I'm very pleased that the town's going to be doing is I've been going to a lot of the parks, and you see a lot of people not wearing masks or congregating near each other without social distancing. And we're going to, in the town, have like a mask only, social distance only park hours. We're going to start that next week, probably next Tuesday, and every Tuesday in the early mornings, like 8 to 10:30, Hartsbrook Nature Preserve, and we're going to have police, and we're going to have more personnel, and we're going to just make sure that everybody who walks and hikes in the trails is social distancing. Because if you have compromised immunities, this could be a death sentence going into a park or a trail, a bicycle Sunday, a beach, a pool. You could catch it from somebody else, and it's serious for some people.
How do you enforce this? If someone says, I'm not going to put on a mask, I'm not going to distance socially, how do you enforce this? And what might the potential fines be, for example?
Well, we're not going to let people into the park for significant, those hours. So we're going to do one park. We're going to start it next week. We're going to start it with a once a week initiative, and then we'll let our senior citizens, people who have disabilities, compromised immune systems, some illnesses, we'll let them know that this is going to be totally enforced. We'll have police riding up and down the the trails, and we'll tell people that they have to comply with the directives, because I think a lot of people are under the wrong assumption that the pandemic is over and people are getting careless, and I think that it's going to cause another crisis within months and more deaths. So I think that we may be opening, partially because of the pressure, placed on government officials, from people in the community who just want to get out, and it may really be too early.
Yeah, I've gotten that impression too, that government officials are reacting to the pressure. Whereas I see you're a regular contributor to the editorial pages with the things you write into the New York Post, the Daily News, amongst others. And I can tell you're the guy who is what I would call the voice of reason here, saying, let's go step by step. Let's take it step by step. Watch and see what happens. If things work, then we can go to the next step instead of just rushing back in. Now, let's say things don't work out the right way. Things go back in the wrong direction. We have public officials who say, no, we can never and will not shut down again. Would you be able to back up those who say, well, we have to shut down again if that's what we need to do? Would you be in favor of shutting down again if we have to?
I definitely would be in favor, because to me, life is more important than money. And I think that there's innocent people who lost their lives because we weren't careful enough the first time. And I think there'll be innocent people who could lose their lives again because we're rushing. So I definitely would support moving slowly, and even if we have to close down, if it means that lives are going to be saved.
We are joined by Greenburgh Supervisor Paul Feiner here on Westchester Talk Radio. I'm John Marino, Cup of Joe, political show here at Westchester Talk Radio, and we are brought to you by a number of our fine friends, as we say in the radio business around this area here in Westchester, like Hightower Westchester at Hightower. They leave no stone unturned as they work and look to help you achieve what you want financially. Got a financial question? They'll find a solution for you at Hightower Westchester. Look for their podcast series on demand at teams.hightowerwestchester.team/Westchester/media room. Hightower Westchester, your wealth managed to a fiduciary standard. Plus, Wartburg Healthcare and Rehabilitation in Mount Vernon, also helping bring to you what we do here at Westchester Talk Radio. Check out our entire podcast series, Westchester Talk Radio, on the YouTube channel of our parent company, Shark Creative. That's SHARC, Shark Creative, and go watch everything we do there at Westchester Talk Radio. Joined again by Paul Feiner, Greenburgh Town Supervisor, here on the Cup of Joe political show. I'm John Marino. Paul Feiner, the toll of that COVID-19 over this 2.5, 3-month period has taken on the town of Greenburgh so far. How are things right now compared to the way things have been, and what direction do you see this heading in? What do you need as the town supervisor from Albany, from the federal government, to make things work for the foreseeable future?
Okay, well, there's a number of issues. One is every local government, including Greenburgh, is losing revenue. We lost sales tax, we lost hotel tax fees, we lost mortgage tax, user fees for some of the parks. We don't have the camps right now. We don't know if we're going to be able to open up the pool. We're waiting for the governor. They'll probably be searching our. We estimate that we could be losing as much as $7 million in revenue, which is a lot of money. So we've been making cutbacks. And for example, we haven't been picking up bulk pickups. If people have furniture, we used to pick it up. We haven't done that. We haven't replaced some of the employees who have retired. During this pandemic, the Public Works Department, we allowed some of the employees to work 1 week, and 1 week they were off because we were afraid that if one person got sick, the whole department could be sick, and we would have had no department. So we were working with, we had backup teams available. So if it turned out really horrible, we would always have a department, functioning. Um, so we've been doing, you know, with less employees. So that's been, a problem. As we're looking at opening, one of the concerns that we have is liability for local governments, because we live in a society where a lot of people sue. And, what happens if we open up the town hall at the urging of the governor and the state, and an employee comes to the town hall and they get sick and they die, God forbid, or a resident comes in and gets sick or dies, they'll sue. So we are asking the state for protection from lawsuits. We're also asking the federal government for stimulus funding, so we could recoup some of the revenue, losses that we've had. I'd like to see the state, and the county, everybody, come up with sort of a unified plan for reopening, so everybody's almost doing the same thing. Should pools be open or should pools be closed? Um, you know, everybody wants to go swimming, but is it safe? Um, I also think that this is the time when we may want to look at reorganizing the way governments operate. There possibly should be more consolidations now, because people are out of work. A lot of people are out of work. You could have 15, 20% of the county out of work. And I feel that, do we have too much government? You remember when you were at FAS, Sal Prezi also talked about Westchester 2000, the need to consolidate governments, sharing of services, but really there's been very little of it. There's been a lot of talk, but it hasn't been real significant. Should we be eliminating some of the layers of government? Those are some of the issues that I really think should be discussed at this time, because I don't think people could afford the taxes when they're out of work.
Now, you make reference to when we would get together on WFAS radio in White Plains, and I've watched you through the decades do more with less when you in Greenburgh have had to, Paul Feiner. And yet we hear public officials say, I have no fat to cut. I know we need to cut. I have nothing to cut. What do you say to public officials? How would you guide them when they say that we have nothing to cut, so we have to operate the way we are, maybe add to our budget and spend more despite tough times right now? I know you're an expert at this kind of management. How do you do it? What do you look for?
Well, I just sort of feel that it's very difficult, because there's special interests, and a lot of people don't want to see change, especially if it's going to impact them. But I really feel that there's a point when you don't have a choice. And if you have a large unemployment problem, I see, a big problem where people aren't going to be able to pay the higher taxes. I think that we may be able to, um, with more shared services or consolidation, we might be able to do more with, with less. In Greenburgh, you have 3 paid fire departments, and each of the fire chiefs makes more than the Greenburgh police chief, and they serve much less territory than the Greenburgh police chief. Should that be combined? If the county would, we have different assessors in each of the municipalities. Maybe it should be a county-wide assessment. Maybe we should have a state-wide court system instead of all these little village courts and town and city courts. It might be more efficient if it was combined, because somebody's arrested. If they go to the New Rochelle court or Larchmont court or Greenburgh court, they probably don't care. And maybe we could save money, or maybe we could save by just combining administrative costs, sharing administrative costs, and having separate judges. You have police departments in Greenburgh. We have villages and a police department. And at one point, the former police chief in Dobbs Ferry actually was Chief Longworth, who became county commissioner for public safety at one point. He suggested between midnight and 6 a.m. they could combine dispatchers. And what happened? The mayor was run out of town. because he was looking at that idea. But there's a lot of savings and a lot of ways we could cut costs if we had the will to do so. But it's easier not to do it because all the people get angry when you're making changes. One of the thoughts I had, and I sent a letter to the governor, was to authorize the county executive or mayors, supervisors, municipal boards to appoint a commission that would look at consolidations and then go directly to the voters with specific proposals. Because I think
Now,
that would,
yeah, go ahead.
because I think that would actually um, help make that happen.
Do you sense during these times now a sense of cooperation amongst other government officials willing to work together at every level, local, state, federal, or do we have a long way to go with that to get things maybe at least somewhat close to back to where they used to be?
Well, I think that especially initially, everybody was working more closely together. The county executive's office, they've been sponsoring 3 days a week um, conference calls with all the elected officials, and it's been very useful. We've had congressmen, U.S. senators, reports from the county executive and his team. They've given us updates. They've provided us with information um, on how many people have been sick, what they're doing. We report it back. We report back to our constituents, and I think that those have been very, very helpful.
From here on out, between say now and the end of the year, can we get back to some kind of, or maybe some semblance of normalcy if things continue to go the right way? What do you look for as the Greenburgh Town Supervisor for you to continue to say, yes, we're going in the right direction, let's keep up, or maybe we need to take a step back and move back to where we were, let's say, May 1st?
Well, basically, we had a meeting yesterday with the department heads, and what we did is we're coming up with a plan for the reopening of government buildings. Many of the employees have been working from home. Some will continue to work from home. Others will be back at in municipal offices, more often than they were during the beginning of the pandemic. There'll probably be a slow um, reopening. We're looking at making sure that our employees and the public is healthy. We are installing plexiglass um, in on desks in different offices to protect our employees. We're going to be looking at ways we could keep our buildings clean and sanitary. In the washrooms, the doors. There's a lot of things that we have to do. We're looking at requiring people who work the social distance. Maybe instead of people working 7 or 8 hour days, they would there'd be shifts like morning shift for some, afternoon shift, so employees wouldn't be sitting right on top of each other. You'd have fewer people in the building at the same time. We also have to look at the parks and the community center, the library. The library is going to be doing curbside pickups. People will order a book, and somebody will come out and give them, give them a book. So there's like a lot of things that we're doing. We're going to be having drive-in, movies, this summer. So people will be able to enjoy themselves. But it's a work in progress. We really don't know. Every day it changes, and you see what other communities are doing, and we try implementing the best of the ideas.
And you talk about all these precautions that we likely will have to take. Makes you want to stay home and work from home instead of maybe going back to the office.
The question is, do you take everybody's temperature before they come in to the building? What happens if somebody doesn't want to have their temperature taken? What happens if somebody's coughing? Do you say they have to leave? What happens if they don't, leave? What type of actions could a municipality, take? We close the town hall to the public, and somebody has to use the washroom. What are you going to say? You can't go. You go in the municipal, bathroom. So do we have one bathroom for the public, another one only for the employees? I mean, there's a lot of issues that have been coming up.
Or maybe you look at a case at a company, private company, for example, where they have employees who say, I'm not coming back. I want to work from home. I'm not going to feel safe until we have a vaccine. Then we get into the issue of if the company says, well, you have to come back to work, or you don't work, we go find somebody else. And these are the kind of things that can happen.
Right, and you have employees who also have medical issues. There's a gentleman who works in one of the departments, and he has an oxygen mask on. Now, I don't want to see him get sick. I'd rather him work at home. Now, you have union issues where you may be treating people in one department one way, and another union may be upset because they think they're working harder. So there's all these implications to everything we do.
We'll find out as time goes on, correct?
Definitely.
Step by step. Paul Feiner, Greenburgh Town Supervisor, we thank you for joining us here on
Westchester
Talk Radio Hour. Thank you. Great to talk with you again. I hope we get to talk soon. Our Cup of Joe political show here on Westchester Talk Radio, produced by Shark Creative, that's SHARC, our parent company, not with a K, but with a C. And brought to you by Entergy, the Indian Point Energy Center in Buchanan. They promise to help keep us powered throughout Westchester, right throughout the rest of 2020 and through April of 2021, supporting our communities. At LaPolis Electric, you are never left in the dark at LaPolis, and LaPolis is located all around the tri-state area, and Ellen, right in Westchester and Poland, in Dutchess County and down in Manhattan, too. We salute our heroes at White Plains Hospital Center, all the frontline workers throughout the tri-state area at White Plains Hospital Center. They are working to keep us safe throughout the pandemic. Hightower Westchester, managing your wealth to a fiduciary standard, and Wartburg Healthcare and Rehabilitation in Mount Vernon, along with our good friends at Park Sterling Realty. I'm John Marino. We are Westchester Talk Radio, westchestertalkradio.com. All one word, produced and brought to you by Shark, SHARC Creative. Check out all of our Westchester Talk Radio programming on the Shark Creative YouTube channel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Much appreciated, and I hope we get talk again soon.
Anytime. Thank
Okay?
you.
I know you have work to do, so you take care.
Thank you.
All right, thanks again. Bye-bye.